Good afternoon, Steve. Welcome back to the Friday at Four podcast series. How are you?
All right, doing well. Good afternoon, Chuck. What's going on?
Hey, man, we're here with this Black Friday edition. Here we are, ready to talk some stuff. So, what are you thankful for after this Thanksgiving?
What am I thankful for? Let's see. I'm thankful that I'm still here, sitting here, talking with you. And that's a big deal for some of the things I went through, which I will not get into. Um, I'm thankful for my kids. Um, Actually, good news. Today's my son's 39th birthday. And
Birthday.
it's my daughter's, well, not she is 34. Um, So what that really means is I'm older. That's what that means. Um, let's see, what else am I thankful for? I'm thankful for my good health, friends, family, you.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, that's what I'm thankful for. And you?
Yeah, I'm thankful for you. Absolutely, man. You have been a big pillar of my strength of continuing what I'm doing. And our conversations are great. I'm thankful for my kids, definitely my health. For what I go through, what I endure every day. I should be, either in an institution or in a hospital. All joking aside,
Yep.
I'm thankful for where I'm at right now, and thankful for my kids. My kids are awesome. They're on their own. They're doing their thing, and I'm thankful for where I am right now in life. Appreciative.
There are, and there always will be, people that have less than us and people that have more than us. But what I am coming to believe more and more as I guess I get older and I see things in a different way. Be thankful for what you have. Because again, there's always people that have less, there's always people that have more. You can, and I don't mean I'm talking general you.
Our
Um,
audience.
the audience, thank you, the audience. See, you're keeping me honest here. Okay. Um, there are always things you can do. You can read a book. You can attend a lecture. You can go take a class that you can shadow somebody in a profession that you may like or want to get into. There are things that you can do to better yourself. The question really becomes, are you willing to invest a little bit of time and money into yourself for long-term gain?
Yeah,
And there's a lot of people who won't. And
yeah,
those people are the ones who complain and bitch and moan that the world is not fair. The world is fair. It's what you want to make out of it. What do you want to take from it? And I know I've talked about this multiple times, but the prime example for what we're talking about now, I worked 32 years in corporate. I put my time in. Then I left and I opened up a business. It failed, but I tried. And when the business failed, because of that, I went bankrupt. But I worked my way out of it. I could have sat back and said, woe is me. The world owes me. The world sucks. I mean, I could have said any number of things, but I chose to fight back because there were people depending on me,
yeah,
my kids. So
yeah.
I chose to fight back in a legal way. I mean, I don't want to say I did something, I mean, in a legal way, but I
Right.
chose to work and to do anything I could legally to put money on the table, to put food on the table, to pay the rent, to put gas in the car, and it turned around. But I made that conscious decision not to accept less than what I thought for me was acceptable. And everybody's different. There is no right, wrong. Everybody's different. And that's cool.
Yeah.
What do you want out of life?
Yeah. And getting back on the thankful part again, as we talk through this, wonderful Thanksgiving and this Black Friday was going out there. I'm not even out there and I'm not going to be out there fighting all
I
that.
don't want to be
But
out there.
Yeah. But one of the things, I want to say real fast is as I sit here and listen to you and my mind starts going, 30,000 miles an hour that it does every day, every second. I'm thankful that I'm able to really reflect on each day of where I'm at, what I'm doing. And I look back at where I was a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. And it's amazing when you look back at how far you've actually come when you just take those steps to push you forward. Keep going. Don't stop, right? Because a lot of times we get this mode where we're going and we kind of end up slowing down or stopping because we don't have that motivation to keep us moving.
Yep.
And you're right, life is tough, and like you said, you will get out of it what you put into it.
Correct.
It can be whatever you want it to be,
Yep.
but the mind, right? This mindset. It's
The
tough.
mindset. Yeah. Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
There is, and I believe it's a book, and I don't know who wrote it, but I will say for the record, this is not mine. I'm taking this from somebody else, so I'm not copywriting anybody. Um, that if you get 1% better every day, just 1%. Um, Ed Milet wrote a book. I, and I know I'm going to get the name wrong, and I apologize, Ed. I'm sorry. Um, but it comes down to do one more of something every day. So if you work out, do one more rep, add one more set of weights to the end, run that extra 100 yards, do one more push up, read one more page in a book, talk to one more customer, do one more of something every day. And at the end of, if you do that, at the end of three and some odd months for that 100 days, you'd be surprised how much your life will change. 1% a day.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And sometimes we get caught up in that where we get frozen in time, where we start spinning our wheels, and then we get on that social media wheel and we just start flicking and scrolling that screen. And then
Yep.
2 hours later, we
Yep.
accomplished nothing because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to move forward.
Yep.
And I have learned when I start pushing that screen, scrolling that social media, I kind of really consciously say, this isn't pushing my business forward. This isn't
Yep. Yep.
helping somebody. This isn't helping a customer or a person pushing something forward for them. And I'm
Mhm.
just mindlessly running through social media, which is a waste of time.
If you use social media to promote yourself in a nice way, I mean, don't be obnoxious, of course, but promote yourself, promote your business, let people know what you're doing. That's awesome. And to your point, keep it to the 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, and you're done. Part of the reason I don't like Facebook, I'm sorry, I don't like Facebook. I do post every day because I have a presence, because it helps my business, but that's all I do. Because quite honestly, and again, my opinion, I don't care who's going out to dinner. I don't care who had where for what for lunch, what
Taking
restaurant they
pictures of
went to,
it.
what club they went to. I frankly, I don't care.
Yeah.
But that's what a lot of it is. And for a lot of people, that's okay because that's what they thrive on.
Yeah.
But like you, I choose not to spend the hours and hours because it's not productive. And at the end of the day, the end of the week, when you sit there and say, what did I accomplish this
Yeah.
today, this week, this month? And you can't find anything, take a look back at what you did for the month.
Yeah. One thing I want to throw at you is I kind of it used to be a daily thing for me. It's kind of getting to like every 4 or 3 days now. It's sporadic, but journaling. I journal. I try to journal all the time.
Right.
It gives you something to look back on to see what I've done and where I've been.
Yep.
It's also about your thoughts on journaling?
I never used to believe in journaling because frankly, I didn't understand it. I thought it was a waste of time. But then I started getting into it fairly recently. And to your exact point, you don't have to write a book, but bullets, just a couple of bullets. What did I do today? Um, Followed up with Chuck from a conversation we had last week, made a new contact, tried a new something else. 2 weeks later, I'm going to put in success with something. But if you go back and read those for any period of time, can you attribute what you did today to what happened 2 weeks later? And if you can do that, that's a great way to your point of what am I doing that's working? What am I doing that's not? Where did I spend my time?
Yeah. Something I started today that I'm really focused on that I thought about obviously years ago, my first business, I'm sure you did as well. I'm really focused on right now at this current moment is I'm looking at, I broke down all the hours of I have in my 24-hour day
Hmm.
and I scheduled out what do I want to do with these hours.
Right.
So I'm up at 4 out of 5, and I went on and on through my day of
Hmm.
how I need to be back home in bed at 9:30 to be up at 4 o'clock from the next day. So I have scheduled out my prospecting time, my email time, my social media time, and my lunch time and, and rest time. And also I put in there my reflect time when reflecting on, again, on my journaling and reflecting on what I've done for the day. Because, as you said, right, if we do one more thing each day, we're going to
Hmm.
get better.
Correct.
And I want to make sure I document, what my day was like, what I've done, so I
Hmm.
can look at it and see how I can improve for tomorrow. You know how it is where people always say, if you just be better than you were yesterday,
Hmm.
you know, I'm a big believer in I want to be better than I was just a minute ago because I'm all about that. Really, this moment's all we have, and I try to really live with that moment of where we're at. I try to be better than I was when we first started this conversation. I try to think about how am I bettering myself already. So I think that's a big goal to put on yourself, but that's just how I think.
It is. It is. And one of the things that I learned from a good friend who's a heavy duty sales coach from for years, super guy, and he said to me the day, well, among other things, he said to me the day can easily get derailed with things that are nice to do's, feel good stuff, but are not moving you forward personally or in a business perspective. So what he said, similar to what you just said, is I use Google Calendar, and the way I view it now is if it's on the calendar, it gets done. If it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done because I'm a very, very big relationship person. So if somebody says to me, "Can you help me with?" I'll say yes. I don't ask what, I don't ask how long it's going to take, what they expect. And then when I get into it, sometimes it's quick, sometimes it drags on. And while it's great and it's a nice feeling and whatnot to help other people, my days get longer. My own work comes at the end. So what was happening is I would start at 8 a.m. I would work on other people's things until 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Now I start my stuff, but most people I need to talk to, their days are done, their computers are shut off, their phones go to email. How do I get my stuff done? How do I build my business? So I'm starting to say to people, I'd like to help you, but I don't have the time, or I can't get to you for 3 weeks. Can you find somebody else? I'm not, I'm nice, I'm not nasty, but I'm starting to slowly push back on people. Can you do it yourself?
Yeah.
It's that line of teach a person to fish versus give them a fish. I'm sure you know that analogy.
Absolutely.
But if you keep doing for somebody, they're going to keep asking you. But if you teach them how, and it may take a little time, but if you teach them how, maybe those calls will stop because now they're doing it themselves.
Yeah.
So they're better off, you're better off, and everybody wins.
Yeah. And I've learned to balance that, right? So going through my first go round with a business, now my second go round, and all the in between things I've helped people with, I've learned that it's okay to do it yourself, but there are certain things you need help with. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with reaching out to say, "Hey, Steve, can you help me with this?"
Mhm.
And you're like, "Yeah, yes or no."
Right.
Move on to somebody else, keep moving. But I've learned to balance that, right? You learn to help yourself. It's okay to try to find it on your own.
Mm.
But when you wanted the expertise from someone who knows it
Yeah.
better than you do, specifically sales, because that's one of my big struggles, you know, I
Mm.
would reach out to someone and say, "Hey, I need some help with some sales here. Tell me what I need to do,"
Mm.
and just you got to find that balance. Everything's in a good balance, right?
Yeah, it is. There
Yeah,
is a balance, but unless you start to understand, I don't need to do it all alone. I can reach it. It's okay to reach out. It really is.
yeah,
We all have one thing in, regardless of who we are, where we came from, whatever else, we all have one thing in common, and that's called the 24-hour clock. We all live by the same clock. We need sleep, we need food, we go to work at whatever that means. But within that work portion of your day, how efficient, I can't speak, efficient and effective are you? If you're playing around, you're on social media too much, um,
sleeping too much.
if you're on the phone too much, just talking to people,
Yeah,
taking your 4-hour lunches, you're not really going to get as far as you probably could if you focused.
yeah, that's true. And that's something that woke me up today because I've always struggled with time, time, time. Where do I get the time to do this? How do I get? And when you really break it down and say Warren Buffett had the same time we did, you
Mm-hmm.
know, all these famous people, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, they all had the same 24 hours that we
Yep.
have,
Yep.
and they make it work. We have to figure out how to make it work, you know. That's a good point you brought up because that's key, right? Because when you really write down and like I said, when you journal, when you focus on your goals and you look back at what you're doing, you really look at how much time you really waste. We really do. We waste a lot of time, especially with TV.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
journaling and the calendar, because the calendar, you don't delete anything off the calendar. So if you went back last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, what did I do during the day? What took up my time? And one of the things that the sales coach said to me is if you have a task that you estimate should take you an hour, you block the time in the calendar for that hour. And it's up to you to do nothing but that task for the hour. Because at the end of the hour is the next task. And the rule of the game says when that hour is up, you must go to the next. If you're not done, that one you're not done with gets done at night when you're all done. So if you really want to keep your day to a somewhat normal set of hours and be productive, work smart. Focus on that item so that in that hour, you're done. Now, you could argue, well, if I get distracted, let me put an hour and a half in for what I think should only take me an hour. Not in the rules. The rules say if you really believe it's an hour, schedule an hour, not more. Force yourself to work smart. Don't answer the phone. Don't go off on emails. Don't go off on whatever else you're going to do. And you'd be surprised how much more you're going to get done in less time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the thing, right? Holding ourselves accountable for our goals and visions and dreams that we want to accomplish. Because if you
Mhm.
have a goal, but you're doing nothing about it,
Right.
then it's not a goal. It's a dream. You're just
Correct.
dreaming of something, you know. You
Right.
gotta be tangible, right? You gotta have something you can reach, something that you can grasp for to make it
Mhm.
happen. And
Yep.
while I've never been a big calendar guy to writing things down as I'm learn as I go
Mhm.
through, it's pretty
Yep.
important to start putting things on a calendar so you can hold yourself
Mhm.
accountable.
Yep.
And
Yep.
as I went through my career as in customer service, the corporate world, that was very, very structured. But again, I never held myself accountable to a calendar because I was a structured person. I was able to do it on my own. I knew what my days were going to look like. And I was a very repetitive person. I just made it happen, you know. But yeah, you got to hold yourself accountable, you know.
So that is absolutely essential. And I'm going to go a step further. Holding yourself accountable is great, but you're holding yourself accountable. Having an accountability partner that you have to answer to if you don't get it done puts you in a whole different world. So the my business partner, who lives in Texas, she's an amazing, amazing person. She started last month, 2 months ago. Every night, I send her a very short text message. Today is the 29th. This is what I did today.
Nice.
5 days a week, I sent her a quick text. This is what I did today. And I know that I have to contact so many people. I have to send out so many emails,
Mhm.
follow up with people, get this done, get that done every day. And if you don't, why? So it's great to hold yourself accountable, and you should. But if you want to take it to the next level, get an accountability partner.
Yeah. And that's something that I've been struggling with, as you know, my current issues with,
Mm,
the way my days go. I don't have that um flexibility, should I say. It
mm,
makes it a challenge to where I have to force myself now to, all right, this time I have to do this. This time
mm.
I have to do this,
Right.
or I'm never going to get past where I am right now. And
Correct.
that's the thing that I've been dealing with is my
Hmm.
wheels are just spinning in the grease right now because I can't push myself forward unless I take that accountability.
Right.
And that's something I've really today was the day. I
Okay.
really it hit me. And today is the
Hmm.
day where I said, okay, now you got to hold yourself accountable. You have to make this happen. If you want things to change in your life and in your business and for your kids and for your future, you have to make this change today. It's got to start today.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. And I did it.
What's that song by Michael Jackson?
The man in the mirror?
Thank you, Man in the Mirror.
Yeah.
Wait, this is
Very
scary.
powerful.
This is scary. But the line in that song that says, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look
Take a
at
look at yourself.
yourself and make the change.
Yep.
And I love
Yep.
that song for that line
Just that
because it
line.
is
Yeah.
so, just for that line, because it is
Yeah.
so powerful. Don't look to anybody else. Don't blame anybody else. You have control over your life, and you do. Whether you
Yeah.
think you do or don't, you do. And if
But I
you,
think the most important thing, Steve, is you really got to tell yourself we all have the same 24 hours.
right,
There's no other excuse, right? There are people who are millionaires and billionaires with the same 24 hours.
correct.
How bad do you want it? If you want to make the world a better
How,
place, look in the
how
mirror,
bad
right?
do you want it? And what are
Yeah.
you willing to do legally to get it done?
Yeah.
I,
Always
s-
that
I,
word
I'm
legally.
saying that because I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want because there are limitations. But and there's so much you can do. Come up with an idea. Get a group of people that believe in your idea and implement something. Start
Yeah.
small and implement something. Try something new.
Yeah.
Status quo got you where you are today, and you're going to stay there unless you change it.
Yeah. Yep. And that has been my focus. What's it, 4:30? Been my focus since about 12:30 this afternoon. About
Okay.
12:30, I said, it has to happen. It has to start today.
It's got to start.
Accountability.
You have to make and again, I don't mean you, I'm talking to the audience. You have to make a decision that something you want today, something you rely on today, get rid of it, which forces you to do something different because you have no choice. All right.
Complacency, right?
When I had the injury, and I'm only going to call it that because for a whole bunch of reasons, but I had an injury back in March, and again, we'll get into why. And because of that injury, since then, I have lost a source, one of my sources of income. That loss of income has propelled me to push my business forward because I needed to replace that income. Now, I'm not saying don't quit your job. Don't say Steve said quit your job because I'm not saying that. Okay? But something, do something. Pretend you don't have that second job or that third job or
Yeah.
the money you make from it. Put it to the side and pretend you don't have it. So
Yeah.
whatever you were using it for, you need to find another source of income.
Yeah.
And yes, if you're already working two jobs, how do I get a third job? Figure it out. You're smart. Stop the nonsense, stop the social media, stop the crap, and find something else. That's
Not the
something you
woe was me,
find.
right? We tend to fall in that woe was me and we get complacent and we get depressed and we get
Yep,
unmotivated. Like if that's even a word,
it
the
is.
motivation just
It
goes away,
absolutely is a word.
Yeah. I've been there. I've been, you know, the motivation just wasn't there. And every time I do that, I want to kick myself because now I realize I just wasted that day or that week or that month and that time where I could have been that much further
Mhm.
in my life and career or whatever I was focused on at the time.
Yep.
So
And while it is correct, you can't go backwards and redo all that time, but use the realization and move forward in a different way.
yeah,
Change the mindset, do something different. Again,
yeah,
go back to what I said before. Talk to one more customer a day, do one more push up a day, read one more page in a book a day, do something
yeah.
more today than you did yesterday.
You
And
know what's
each day
sad?
continue.
And what's sad about that? It struck me when you said about, yesterday you can't go back. In the corporate world, one of my managers used to push at me and say, "We want the old Chuck back. We want the Chuck that we used to have." How could you say that when that's gone? You'll never get that back because that person has been pushed around and now we're in a whole new direction. That old me is gone. This is the new me now. You're looking at the new Chuck who we're focusing on trying to push that business forward, not going back where we were. That was just poor management. Poor management.
Right. But the old Chuck was for somebody else's benefit, not for your benefit. That's why they want you back.
Yeah.
The new Chuck is all about Chuck.
Yeah. He figured it out.
It's all about
He
you.
figured it out. Walked
And I
away.
and I don't want people to get selfish and self-absorbed and stuff. That's not the point of I'm trying to make here. The point I'm
Right.
trying to make is one of my first managers, way back when I started to work, said to me, nobody cares about your future more than you do.
Yeah.
Nobody,
Yeah.
regardless of what they tell you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because my boss, he said to me, if I get fired or I get moved to the side, somebody new is coming in that doesn't care about you. If the technology or whatever that you're doing during the day, because I was in IT, so I'm saying technology, but whatever you do during the day, if that function goes away, technology changes. Um, you get bought out by a company and your job goes away. Whatever it is. My father never went to college, but he was an extremely knowledgeable man. And he always told me as I was in corporate world, the more you can do, the more valuable you become. So if you're doing A and A goes away, you can still do B, C, and D. However, for whatever reason A goes away, you can do B, C, and D. If you're overstaffed and they have, headcount reductions and Chuck can only do A, but Steve can do B, C, D, E, and E, they're going to keep me because I can do more things. Doesn't mean I'm going to get paid more money, but at least I still have an income coming in.
Yeah.
So the more you can do, it's self-fulfilling, it's monetarily fulfilling. If not there, then go somewhere else who will appreciate and pay for it. But
Yeah.
always look to do better. Always look
Yeah.
to do better.
Yeah. That's one thing that I'm glad we had this podcast about today because today's been a reflection day. And, even though it's the day after Thanksgiving and Black Friday, everybody should be out enjoying themselves and shopping for the holidays. Today was a huge reflection day for me. And I used this time wisely to really reflect. And I'm gonna do the same thing tonight, later this evening. I'm gonna
Hmm.
really sit down on my time I scheduled out for my reflection and really just journal and write and put it on paper, you know, my expectations for myself, especially at the end of the year, coming up for the new year. And I guess our next podcast we can talk about the new year and setting goals and things like that. I think that'd be a great podcast coming forward. But yeah, it's this has been a day. It's
Good,
been a huge day.
good. It's good that it hit you in whatever way it did to
Yeah.
start that realization of it's time to make the change.
Yep, you got it. Steve, thanks again for another great Friday at 4.
Absolutely.
Because
Because it's 4 o'clock somewhere.
yeah, you're getting it. I love it.
Now, the last thing I will leave everybody with, and I know that you may not see this today, but it's Black Friday. So if you do see this today, go out, go shop, and shop local
And small. Tomorrow is Small Business
and
Saturday.
small. Stay off Amazon. Sorry, stay off Amazon. Shop local, shop small stores. You
Yeah,
make the difference in whether these stores will survive another year.
it's
You
true.
may not think about it, but you do. So
Yeah.
shop local, shop small stores, make a difference.
Thanks for bringing it up. Thanks for bringing that up. That was good because I totally forgot about that. And small business is near and dear to my heart, like it is for you. And I love to support local and small. I do it all the time, and that's why I in my businesses I support small.
Yep,
So,
me
Steve,
too.
thanks again. Good talking
Absolutely.
to you as
You too,
always.
Joe. All right. Enjoy. Have a
Yes,
great
sir.
weekend.
You too, man. Have a great
Thanks.
weekend. Small business Saturday. Take care of it, and we'll talk soon.
You got it.
See you, buddy.
Thanks. Take care.
Got it.
Bye.